Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Scaling Brokerage Podcast. Today we have Derek. He owns Alliance Realty out there in Kansas City. So we'll get a little bit of Derek's story, kind of his background, how he got started in real estate, to where he's at now. So I'll kick it off to Derek. Let him tell the people a little bit about himself.
Well, first, Jake, not to make you feel bad, but Manhattan, Kansas. It's close. It's close to Kansas City. It's close to Kansas City. Yeah. So my name's Derek. I'm a broker owner of a pretty mid to large real estate firm here in Manhattan. Manhattan's about a 50,000 population. So I've been brokering this company for the last 15 years. We are sitting at about hovering around 22, 24 agents pretty much. Been enjoying my job. I love my team, love everything that we do. And
That's awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about how did you get started? What was your first kind of step into real estate there?
Yeah, that's great. So actually, I have a theater background. I went to college to be a performer. Being creative is something that is really near dear to my soul, my tuning fork. So I was in Kansas City, where I started my real estate career. Just waiting tables, and all my cohorts were starving actors. And I was like, you know what? I got into business, and I got into small business, and really, the potential of real estate was way more attractive to me than, a performance lifestyle. And I'm more of a family man. I married my high school sweetheart. We have 3 kids. So this was definitely the career path for me. Started it, fell in love with the creativity of entrepreneurship, loved the idea of working for myself, and slowly grew the company for 15 years. Started with 2 people and got to the point where we are at today.
I love it. Well, when did you guys open up when did you open up the brokerage? What year did that happen?
Yeah, actually, I did start it with a couple other partners. That would have been back in 2011. I landed back in Manhattan, Kansas, where I'm from Kansas City, after doing a couple of years of real estate in Kansas City, and did a couple of, it was kind of one of those experiences that I think a lot of people experience, where, hey, you're a real estate agent, you're doing really well, but your broker's kind of strangling you and not being creative. And I just needed to have more control, and found out that my passion is working for my clients, but more so building a team and having this awesome work environment around me.
Absolutely. And it's an amazing thing, we get to kind of control the each agent that we bring in, we get to kind of mold and make sure they're kind of fitting the, the scope of who we want them to be, and how we want them to, do deals and function inside the brokerage. It's amazing how, that can really create a culture and create a difference in, brand. So that's awesome. That's awesome that you guys do that over there. Well, tell me a little bit about, opened in 2011. You've been there for quite a while, over a decade, obviously. Have you ran into anything along the way? Anything where you felt like maybe like, oh man, this is it. I might have to, shut it down. Did you ever have a period like that?
No. Luckily enough, I was very grassroots about it. Started an office within another person's office.
Oh, nice.
Did not take on like a whole bunch of debt. Didn't buy a brick and mortar. I was diligent, and I was like, you know what, we're just going to build this within our comfort zone. We're not going to get too far over our skis. But I felt like that was the really appropriate way to learn step by step of when is it appropriate to buy a building, or when is it appropriate to hire staff, and look at the budget and go, hey, we're probably going to spend a lot of money this year on these things, but we hopefully we'll see the ROI, in the next couple of years.
Absolutely. And it goes a long way, even like talking to brokerage owners that went through the 2008 and 2009.
Yeah.
Having that, making sure, like you mentioned, not getting too ahead of our skis, and putting our systems, everything in place as we go along. Can make a big difference for helping us, making sure we make it through tough times, making sure we don't run into tough times. That's awesome. Well, and just curious, tell us a little bit about what was it like, kind of having an office within another office there. How did that come about?
Yeah, it was fine. It was okay. I think we realized pretty quickly that it's not where we ultimately want to be.
Yeah.
And then we transitioned to a storefront, on a major street, and it's kind of one of those fishbowl things. The bigger your office is, the more agents you can kind of fill it with. So it just, again, it was a slow progression. It worked out well. I don't regret anything like that. I would say probably one of the biggest hurdles was starting any business, is figuring out how are you going to partner with people? What are percentages going to look like? How are you going to structure the commission and the how agents are going to get paid, how the brokerage is going to get paid? I did it based off of my little knowledge of a couple of brokerages, one from Kansas City and the one in Manhattan. So I kind of created it myself and figured out how to kind of throttle it back and forth to what I felt was a fair offering to local agents in my area.
Absolutely. So I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but I believe the stat is about 80% of brokerage owners have 6 agents or less. So definitely
I didn't know that.
Well, to your point, to getting those, getting our foot in the door with the, bringing on agents and, and as being the first, second, third agent, it can be difficult to, get those, especially if we haven't had, a relationship or any past kind of, experience with that person. It can be hard to get them to, kind of buy into coming in the door. Did you have anything like that when you first started recruiting? I saw you guys have about 20 agents, you mentioned, correct?
Yeah, correct. My mindset on being a broker owner in my town was a little bit different, coming from a Kansas City experience. Most being the size that we are, when I came in, most brokers were like the highest producing agent in their office.
Yeah.
So that was not my goal. My goal was to be more of the broker who ran the company and gave the skill sets to my agents so that they become the number one agents in the office. That was kind of my viewpoint of where I wanted to sit within the company. And that's why a lot of people's last names were the names of the company. That's why I called it Alliance Realty, because I didn't want it to be Richards Realty.
Right.
So those were some decisions that I've made, but hopefully that was what encouraged and produced the number of agents over the years, of slowly making sure that we had the correct offering for training agents. I will say the one unique thing about my company within the area that I'm at is my agents get poached or try to get poached constantly throughout the year. They're getting evites, and they tell me all about it. So I've only ever had a few agents, years and years ago, who actually left because they got a better commission split at another office.
Yeah.
And here's why. I have most of my agents, all of them, have started from nothing to where their career is at today. And we just like that model. We enjoy taking people who are excited about learning the business and starting from zero, and hopefully producing a vibrant career in 3 to 4 years.
I love it. Well, and it speaks volumes, what you're able to do, training, mentoring, getting those agents up to speed.
Yeah.
To be able to take them from someone that maybe doesn't even know, how to sign a contract, to someone that's doing, 10, 15, 20 plus deals a year.
Yep.
That's a huge difference. That's something that, they don't, agents, people in general, we don't forget when someone mentors and helps us and gets us to where we want to be.
That's right.
So I'm sure that speaks volumes. I'm sure that helps, a ton with, with those agents staying around, like you mentioned, not really looking at other offers and things like that.
Yeah, the retention. I think that's exactly right. It helps with retention, and that could happen at every level. I think, we've had agents wanting to come over, but usually it was a shop. They just wanted to know kind of what the menu of what our what the split is and everything like that. And usually those conversations don't work out very well. Like I said, we just they could be nice people, but it doesn't fit the ethos of the culture in this office of we're all together to work together. We're not just here just to have a desk and just have a place to work. And there's nothing wrong with real estate agents that want to do that. Absolutely not. I think that's fine if that's how you want to run your business.
Yeah.
But what we find in our company is that an agent who shuts their door and shuts themselves off to the rest of the team tends to feel ostracized because everybody else is hanging out after work, knowing each other's families, working within the walls of the business. And those people tend to feel like, hey, why is this so awkward for me? Is because they're not being transparent, or they're just not jumping in to be a part of the family.
Yeah.
As much as, you know, people use that word. That's what we try to do. We're trying to create that culture here. So yeah.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, in most cases, we spend more time at work than with the family, right? Especially Monday through Friday, at least most cases. So
again, yeah, it's possible.
It's a big difference when we, you know, feel like we have a, you know, second family in the office and feel like we're going to work.
For sure.
So that's awesome. You guys do that. I want to switch gears a little bit into the like recruiting, you know, marketing side. Do you guys, I guess first off, do you guys do anything to help the agents, you know, help them market themselves, market their business, anything like that?
Absolutely. So are you familiar with the ninja selling technique?
I've heard it before. Off the top of my head, or exactly what it is, no, but I've definitely heard the
So
the term.
ninja selling is based out of Fort Collins, Colorado, and they do a bunch of just real estate training.
Okay.
There's so many real ways of, you know, selling real estate, so many systems, so many you know, theories and ways to get bought into how you're going to run your business. We have always been a ninja company. And I highly suggest anybody who's interested in a system to research Ninja. They have installments to learn the Ninja system all the time, and they're constantly filled up. We send every one of our agents to Fort Collins physically to do an installment. Now, there's installments in Las Vegas, there's installments in all over the United States, but I highly suggest you actually go to the hub and learn from Larry Kendall, who wrote and developed the system of selling called Ninja Selling there in Fort Collins. So that's one big thing that we lean on.
I love it. I love it. When that has to be a big difference for an agent, you know, that maybe you guys come from another couple brokerages, maybe hasn't got the same training, you know, the same experience, you know, when they first, you know, enter the brokerage, for them to, you know, come to you and immediately be sent to, you know, a in-person, you know, class. I don't know why that word was escaping me. But
Yeah.
for them to immediately, you know, that'd be kind of their first step into the brokerage. That has to be huge for them, you know, feeling like, you know, this is going to be different. You know, I'm actually going to learn and get taken care of here. So that's awesome. You guys you do that. I keep saying you guys. All right.
Well, you find out, you can tell someone to read the book. You can teach them the entire system. You use the same terminology. You show them the steps, but until they physically go to that week away from family and the noise of life to actually just sit down and be kind of baptized within that, what we're talking about, they always come back. I mean, we just actually had an agent last week just come back completely re-energized, go, oh, I get it now. You know, that's really helpful. So I guess, what do we add within that? So our company is based, the way I would view it is, I'm going to ask for a return in your commission based on, I'm going to give you all the tools you need to be a high productive agent. Meaning the standard for our company is you can sell as little as you want, and you can sell as much as you want. But what we're going to do is we're going to spend the money to make sure you have every tool in your tool belt to be as successful as the top agents in our network. Meaning, we create a monthly newsletter that you can pay to send out to your entire sphere of influence in the area. We're going to take care of all that for you. You just have to give us the names and information, and we'll bill you for that. We're going to create all the marketing materials. We're going to have the website. We're going to have all the training. We're going to do all the things that you're going to need to be as effective as you can. We're going to teach you, if you want to learn how to do Google click campaigns, if you want to have a social media presence, if you want to have the most CRM that drips on everybody that you know in many different ways. We've studied it all, and we can kind of give you the road path to what's going to be the most comfortable for you. But that's where we feel like we're gonna do those things. We're gonna buy all the lock boxes. We're gonna buy all the signs. We're gonna pay for as much stuff so that you feel like you can hit the ground rolling. And yeah, compared to other companies charge for things. Other companies charge for things in different ways. We just feel like, hey, we're just gonna take on that cost. You know, a couple of years ago, it was Matterport hit the scene. We're like, we're going to get a Matterport camera. We're going to make sure that we have a 3D home tour at our disposal. So we're always looking at technology in that sort of way to make sure we can offer those things to our agents.
I love it. I love it. Well, how about on the recruiting side? Do you guys do anything or do you do anything to bring in new agents or bring in, existing producing agents, anything like that?
I'll be honest, I've never, I've only made a couple phone calls twice in my career to call an agent at another brokerage in my town to see if they're interested in coming to my company. We've been very lucky with kind of a referral network within our agents to pull people in. Like I said, we have 22 agents, so that's going to be pretty dang close to one of the largest companies in Manhattan, Kansas. So from a size standpoint, we're kind of right there of like, we're full. Unless, we decide to expand our office or expand to different parts of the town. So yeah, recruiting it's been interesting. We mostly, I will say this, I was taking a lot of people, I was trusting a lot of people that, and I had hope for a lot of people earlier on in my career about becoming real estate agents. I've learned enough to trust my gut about who's it going to work for and what kind of steps I have to see if someone's going to join our team and earn the right to be in our training and be in our staff, in our staff meetings. I'm at the point now in my career where if I meet with someone, I'm going to vet them a little bit more harshly, and with other agents in the team to make sure that they are the right fit for us. So that's a long way of answering your recruiting method, but that's exactly where we're at as a team. Is like, we want to make sure the fit works. And that's going to work personality wise, because we have experienced the wrong personality can really derail the comfortability of our meetings and really just the whole vibe of the environment that we have at our office.
Absolutely. No one, a couple bad eggs can definitely spoil the bunch, or at least, not make it.
For sure. For sure.
Absolutely. Wanted to dive a little bit into, the future. Where you, when you go short term to start out with, this year, what are kind of the goals for you guys over there?
So speaking from a brokerage standpoint of like running the business, we are looking at maintaining. We always want to grow, right? We always want to sell more. Company always wants to make more money. So we are really invested in identifying. We take care of our top tier agents. So the ones that are kicking tail and are selling a ton of real estate, we definitely spend as much time as we can making sure they're happy. That is, if there's any systems that they're looking into, or really I'm more of looking at their business and going, hey, you probably need to make this next step. Maybe you do need to hire an assistant. You are super busy. You need to pay somebody for all this busy work. How can we work together as a company to make sure that you are being taken care of? But at the same time, this is more kind of to answer your question. What makes my company the most money is getting the mid to low tier agents to buy into the Ninja system, to then make sure that they can make this real estate job their full-time job.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make us the most money, is bringing those lower to mid tier agents and bought into the system. Because once they get their business, which is kind of rolling, kind of humming now, to a vibrant business, that's really when the company starts exploding in profits. We have a tier every year where once you sell enough real estate, you basically have maxed out. You're taking in pretty much 95% of your commissions, which we love. That's my goal. My goal and my expectation for every agent is to hit that split so that you can start making more money for your family.
Yeah.
Well, I need to push my lower to mid tier agents to become produce more for the company to make more. So to answer your question, for the next 3 to 5 years, we're always focusing on that lower tier and moving them up the scale. If there's any other specific questions you have besides that, but that was kind of what I was thinking about how to answer that question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know one thing you did touch on earlier was, maybe like expanding things. Like, have you ever something you ever thought about? Like, I know you mentioned, doing real estate in Kansas City for a little while.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever thought about, or you ever thought about opening an office like elsewhere, even, like somewhere close by there in Manhattan?
Well, technically, I have 2 offices close by in different towns,
Okay.
and just because those agents physically live in those towns, so we actually have one more brick and mortar in a town that's 20 miles east of here, and then I have agents that live outside the city limits west of Manhattan. Um, but it's not like a vibrant, like I'm not really trying to recruit those areas. To be honest, Jake, I have to have a personal touch on my agents, and I would have a hard time. I'm just not comfortable with opening up locations in towns like Topeka, which
Yeah.
is an hour from here, or Kansas City, 2 hours. I personally don't want to have that stress on me as a broker and my family to try to do that. I would have to look at hiring other brokers and figuring out how to do that. So no, to answer your question, I am not looking to explore of expanding.
Oh, good. I was just curious. I know you mentioned earlier this. I was just curious. I'd bring you back
Yeah.
up there. Kind of fit in good there.
Sure.
Awesome. I mean, I think the last and one of the last topics here is advice for new brokerage owners. I mean, do you have anything for, maybe advice from when you get started, or someone that's just getting started in today's market?
Yeah, sure. I've always felt like it's important to, if you give advice to agents, you have to be willing to take your own advice.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning, if we're gonna be a ninja company, and the ninja system says, you're going to make phone calls, or do real estate reviews for your COI, do all these activities of face-to-face and what we call touches to be top of mind. I have to do those as well for my COI, my center of influence. So I think that's a great way of showing agents, hey, I know I'm asking you to do these things, or I'm even advising you that these things work, but I have to take that advice myself, and I have to show that I can lead and do that as well. I mean, there's a lot to obviously running a brokerage, so it's kind of interesting to know like where to give advice from. But I'm trying to think of like past mistakes that I've made. It's always good to have mentors, always good to ask people for help. It's always good to make sure, you're really being transparent with your business. I don't know, Jake, do you have anything specific that I could kind of dive into? I guess I don't really have like one that kind of sticks out.
Yeah, no. So I know just from talking to a lot of brokerage owners that are on the newer side. I'd say the most common thing that they run into is probably just not like having everything kind of pull them different ways at once. When you first started out, did you feel like you were wearing multiple hats? Or I know you mentioned kind of biting off as much as we could chew, kind of at the right times there. Did you ever feel like that, like you were wearing too many hats, or like maybe when you first started bringing agents on and they needed help and you were still trying to produce?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that helps me think about. What really helped me was this started actually 5 years ago. I was that broker that ran the meetings, did all the transaction coordination, writing all the commission checks. I actually forced myself to go on a sabbatical. It was just a 2-month sabbatical, but I went on a forced sabbatical. Not many people in the business world actually go on sabbaticals. You mostly hear that within ministry or on the higher education level.
Yeah.
But I took a sabbatical. Here's what I learned. I learned for those 2 months that I do not have to be in control of everything. It's okay to pay someone to be in control of activities that even I enjoyed doing, were probably necessary for me to be more to my company. So,
not have so many hats on, right?
Yeah, and I got paid for doing those activities because that's what you have to weigh, right? Am I going to pay someone else?
Yeah.
Am I going to have to pay someone else to do those things? And what I found out was that paying other people to do the busy work, but also even more importantly, I started paying people to do training, and I pay people now to just be kind of a soundboard for all the agents. So we meet weekly for 20 minutes to really just kind of update what's going on with the office in that week. But within that 20 minutes, we make sure that we are taking care of any potential problems that are happening in the office. So all that being said is I have a team of people that I pay, but they take care of the company. They back up the company's what we're preaching, whatever it is that we're excited about and whatever we think people need to be doing, they are preaching that. So we have a better buy-in. If it's just coming from the broker who's potentially making all the money from all the commissions, I think you tend to have this boss and employee mentality within the company. But when you have other people that you're paying to kind of stir and make sure that we're all getting that these things are good, this is good advice. That has been a game changer for my office, and I love it so much that I have other people on my team that work for the company that I pay and take so much of the load off of my shoulders to be able to do that thing. So I learned that in my career, that giving people the opportunity to be leaders within my company, even though they're not the owner broker, was the best decision I could possibly make as a business owner.
Absolutely. And you hear it all the time. Like I mentioned before, I know 80% of brokerage owners having, 6 or less agents. That puts a lot of hats on you. Being the transaction coordinator, still probably producing to keep, the lights on, pay the bills.
Yep.
It puts a lot of stress on you, not only, being a full-time real estate agent in some cases, but also, all the other things we do that have to do that goes along with being a business owner as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So it can definitely be a lot of hats to wear, but I'm glad you mentioned that. I think it's something that a lot of people, struggle with. Maybe it's, more so on the financial side, in most cases, but, if we could put someone in, we would, but, being able to, and kind of taking that step so that we can, free ourselves up to, produce more deals, bring in a couple extra agents that can, kind of fill that void there. It can be a game changer for, taking the next step and continuing to grow in real estate, like you've shown. So.
And not lose agents. I mean, that's the thing is I think that's where I was feeling like I was getting to the point where, yeah, the money is really good, but are we offering enough to them, making those top agents feel cared for enough that they're not going to, take an interview with another company? And that's where my fear was. And that's what bringing on the team of people, I think, really helped solidify, like, hey, this company is different compared to other companies in town. We are going to spend money on you in different ways. And so, yeah, that was, I think that's what would have happened is I think people would have gone, Derek's got a lot of agents around him. He's fine, but I got to think of myself and my family. I'm just going to go to a different company so I can make more money. And and that's what, you have to make sure you're being proactive about that.
Absolutely. And I spoke to a gentleman yesterday. He was, I've been talking to brokerage owners over a year and a half now, and I never heard anyone mention a team rich. And it kind of it reminds me of, some things you mentioned today where you guys are, really close knit, having some of the agents, some of the guys be there, when we meet with prospective, new agents as well. Really making sure they're going to fit the culture and building that, building that brand at the end of the day, so to speak. If you have a second, would like to touch on, do you have anything extra or, kind of important that you look for to kind of build the culture and keep that culture intact in the office when, looking at prospective, like possible new agents coming into the brokerage?
Well, the first thing I do is that I think has been super positive is I take everybody on a trip every 2 years, them and their spouses. That's one thing that has been really fun to do. It gets hard as your company gets really big, but I highly encourage that if you can figure out a way to take care of those top tier agents, those long weekends are ways to really solidify that, like, hey, we're friends, we're doing this life together, and this is real. Like, we're really, we're really in this thing, and we're really friends. I'm not sure if I'm really the person to be asking about recruiting, because recruiting is just not my thing. I let it come towards me. I don't go towards it. So I think it's somewhere in my business I could learn a lot. It just hasn't really been something that I have pursued a lot. I've been very happy with what I have, and I'm really content with the agents that I have around me. If people want to come in the door and interview to be a part of my company, I'm all about it. Yeah, it's just not something that I'm
Yeah,
pursuing when it comes to like the recruiting side.
chasing down. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, and kind of in closing there, I mean, do you have anywhere where the people can find you if they're in the, in Kansas, I mean, in the Massachusetts area, or maybe, locally by there, looking for, different properties, maybe even just looking to get connected about something you spoke about today here. How can they get in touch with you, or where can they find you at?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So Derek, Go Alliance Realty is Manhattan, Kansas. So if you ever have anybody moving to Manhattan, we'd love to be a referring agent for you. If you're interested in me personally, Instagram is probably the best way to find me. I'm Derek Richards. I have a fun little Instagram channel that I do, and it's also part of my creativity. You'll see that I love sports. I love the university in this town, Kansas State University, and I love Manhattan, Kansas. And I have been running this social media account really diligently for the past 2.5 years. And it's been really fun. So if you want to get to know me, that's definitely the way to see my personality.
That's awesome. And then just curious, what's your favorite sport? Like basketball, football, any of those?
So Kansas, Chiefs fans, obviously.
Yeah.
Big Chiefs fans.
I don't blame you.
College town. So we live in the college is Kansas State University here in Manhattan, Kansas. So Kansas State's really has been historically since the 90s really good at football. We tend to have a good basketball team.
Yeah.
So yeah, college sports and professional football are the sports that I cheer on deeply. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, I would say, especially the Chiefs now. I mean, I remember watching growing up, and they had like Jamal Charles, and they're kind of similar to the Cardinals, like always, middle to bottom tier. They never, just the last 5-6 years now, they've been, on fire. They can't be stopped in most cases. I mean, this year it seemed like a strange year for them.
We're spoiled. I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, you have no idea what it's like to grow up with a professional sports team with the Royals and the Chiefs that never win anything for the entire life.
Yeah, Cardinals, Diamondbacks, Suns. That's how Arizona teams. They all made it in the last decade or so. In the last 5-6 years, they've all made it. But I mean, besides the Cardinals, it was a while ago. But they all lose it. So
when you have it, you just bask in how amazing it is to be winning every week. I mean, Chiefs didn't win the Super Bowl, but we literally lost 2 games this entire year.
Yeah,
and we've been champions for almost 3 years. It's nuts. So. Anyways, I'm still hungover from the Super Bowl, but we'll figure it out. We'll probably be back again next year. I don't know. We'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, awesome. Well, guys, like Doug mentioned there just a minute ago, we'll have everything linked down below. So every social media, email, phone number, everything we have there, we'll link it down below so you guys can get in touch. But thank you so much for coming out today, Doug. That was a fun podcast. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Jake. Appreciate you.